And for more on the historic step between Cuba and the U.S., I'm joined by Philip Brenner. He's a professor of international relations at American University here in Washington. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure.
What stands out to you the most about this announcement? It wasn't unexpected, but are you surprised that it's happening maybe faster or slower than expected?
It was slower than expected. There was very little that needed to be done in order to make this happen. The United States has an embassy building there, and Cuba has an embassy building here, and so in Washington. And so there was very little that really was controversial. So it took much longer than it should have taken. But what's interesting is the language the president used. First, he admitted a failure of policy, and second, he showed great respect towards Cuba, which is something they've been asking for.
Is that unprecedented, or is it something that needed to be said in order for this to move forward?
It's unprecedented, and it needed to be said in order for it to be moved forward, because the Cubans have claimed that ever since the United States intervened in their independence war in 1898, a war the United States calls the Spanish-American War, leaving Cuba out of it, that the United States has not shown respect that it should show to another country.
Talking about other potential holdups, the U.S. Congress could hold up the naming of an ambassador there in Cuba, also funding an embassy, although you did say there already is a building there. Do you see that as a major obstacle? What are some other potential challenges we could see?
Well, the Congress would be very silly to not name an ambassador. We have a person there who has the rank of an ambassador because he had previously been an ambassador, Jeff De Laurentiis, and they will name an ambassador, probably Ambassador Cabañas, who is now their head of their interest section. So it would be symbolic on the part of someone like Marco Rubio to try to do that. They're not going to disfund the extra construction needed to secure this embassy. They don't want blood on their hands. And so the real obstacles now in the future are the embargo. President Castro, in his announcement today, pointed out that there are still many things to go after normal diplomatic relations to achieve normal relations. One would be lifting the embargo, another would be giving back Guantanamo Naval Base, 47 square miles that Cuba would like back, and the United States refuses to give back to Cuba. And so there are several things that still have to go before normal relations occur.
Do you see any of that happening, though, in the near future, perhaps even before President Barack Obama leaves office?
Those will not happen. Those require the Congress to act. What could happen is that the president could allow some more travel by ordinary American citizens, not linked to any other group. He could facilitate scientific exchanges. Cuba, for example, has a diabetes drug that would help 60,000 people a year in the United States not lose their limbs because of diabetes.
So could we see a scenario where we see all of this progress in the relationship between these two countries, but will not see an embargo lifted for years or even decades?
Well, we have 55 years of a hostile relationship. We have to give it a little time. It took a long time for the United States to officially have relations with China after we opened up a kind of a diplomatic mission. I think this will happen more quickly with Cuba.
What does this do for relations across the Americas, despite what happens between the United States and Cuba? What does this mean for other countries in the region?
Very important question. What it means is that the United States will be removing an obstacle to better relations. Other countries in the region were the only country that did not have diplomatic relations with Cuba in the hemisphere. And other countries have insisted that Cuba be brought back into the hemisphere. And that has been a cause célèbre at every meeting the president has attended, and now it'll be out of the way.
All right, Philip Brenner, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your insight.
My pleasure. Thanks.